Yeah, we can't talk about voting, but I'll tell you what went on at the meeting. Okay? I think you should know. There was information that came out yesterday that we didn't know.
I think it was a good.
I mean, at this late stage, the first finding out stuff, you know, it's,
He said he was going to.
well, that makes you wonder, doesn't it? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. He sent it.
I know, today is well, it sure feels that way.
So why do we have such a big crowd today? Are you gonna have something controversial or what?
Yeah, no, these are all of our new employees.
Oh, these are all your new employees?
Yeah. Yeah, tell me about it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's-
Are there any? Oh, yeah, there's an old one right there. I see an old one. Oh, there's two of them. Two of them together. Three of them.
You're picking on you guys, Chris.
She likes it.
You like
Yeah,
it?
she likes getting big time.
Wait till she gets up to the-
We
Good to see how flustered she gets.
we are live.
She gets nice red cheeks. What did I got?
You see it? Yeah.
Anyway.
We're not talking about you.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
We're talking about your rosy red Larry didn't make the meeting either, did he?
No, that's why I thought you guys were in cahoots.
It's right here.
I had a dog. Yeah, you know.
Oh, because you're gonna meet.
Well, you know, that happens.
We are.
Staycation day. Anyhow.
It's like Joe's.
You guys have a good conversation going on there.
Working meeting.
So who's
Yeah, we miss you, Joel. Look at you sitting in your car.
Well, I miss you guys too. I'd rather be sitting there than here. So
So where did you say you were?
I'm in Manitowoc today.
Oh, okay. And they didn't give you
Oh,
a room? They didn't give
Oh,
you a
yeah,
room?
they did, but I know how long-winded these meetings can be. So checkout's at 11. So I figured better check out before I start this.
But you're not here, so it ain't gonna be long with it.
There you go. But I'm still online.
Do you see the crew out there? I think we're gonna be here a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see the back room, but I heard Bob talking. I was wondering who put a quarter in him this morning.
What are you talking about?
I kid because I care, Bob.
Yep.
I
I
am,
kid because I
okay.
care.
All right, Joe.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Are we online and everything?
We are.
Oh, great. Thank you, Jules. We are, it's 9:00. I'm Paula Hodak. I chair this committee, and I'd like to call the Price County Health and Human Services Board meeting to order. And Jean, if you would please take the roll.
Sure. Joe Baratka, we know he is remote.
Mhm.
Paula Hodak,
Here.
Bob Kopish, Patty Stephen, Dennis Werko, Peter Daly, Sally Hummel, Susie Acker, Gerald Swenson. You have a full board.
We do. How exciting is that? And I thank you all for being here. Gorgeous day. I know you want to grasp these last few days of summer coming in, they say, but we know better. We're gonna have all of September, right? All right, let's get started here. Call to order, roll call. We did public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? I know we're gonna hear a lot of public comment over there from you gals, but it's not comment.
There are two callers on besides Joe. I'm not sure who they are, but if they would like public comment. Oh, okay, all right.
Hi,
Yeah,
Nick. How are you
So
doing?
it's Jules and Nick. Nick,
Um,
you have any public comment? No, okay.
No. Is he shaking his head? An emoji? All right. And in communications, anyone on the board have any communications? If not, I do. Actually, this came to Brian Ernst, our board chairperson. It's just a little glitch in the, whoever put it together. They set it to Brian's home as the chair. And then they start out with Dear Supervisor Luke. So Brian has a new name. And we thought this was something, Mr. Kopish happened to be there and we looked at it and we thought this might be something that has some validity. So if you don't mind, I'll read the few paragraphs that it goes. Dear Supervisor Luke, we hope this letter finds you well. We write, this comes from the Chippewa Valley Health Cooperative, by the way. We hope this letter finds you well. We write to request a meeting with you and the members of the County Board of Supervisors to brief the board about our plans to build a new community hospital and provide other healthcare services in the greater Chippewa Valley region. As you are aware, access to quality healthcare, vital for the well-being of our residents, has been significantly curtailed with HSHS and Previa's exit from Western Wisconsin, and this project aims to significantly enhance the healthcare services available in our community. The proposed community hospital will not only provide essential medical services, but also create jobs, stimulate economic growth, and improve the overall quality of life for our residents. We believe this is critical for the Board of Supervisors to fully understand the scope and impact of this project, as your support and insight will be invaluable in ensuring its success. During the meeting, we would like to present detailed information about the healthcare ecosystem in the region, our initial plans for the hospital and the services it will provide, a projected timeline, and the anticipated benefits to the community. Additionally, we would appreciate the opportunity to address any questions or concerns the board may have and to discuss how we can collaborate to meet the needs of our residents effectively. We are working closely with the University of Wisconsin Division of Extension on this initiative. Your local extension department will be reaching out to the court to coordinate logistics. Thank you for considering our request. We look forward to the opportunity to discuss this important project with you and the board. Together, we can make a significant positive impact on the health and well-being of our community. Best regards, Robert Kraus, Chair of the Board of Organizers. I'm bringing this forward, and I bring this because I think this is something we should discuss. And I just asked Brian Ernst over there if he felt that we really needed to bring it to the Board of Supervisors or if we should bring it to the Board of Health. And he agreed with me that we should start here first with that. So we won't, because it's not an action item right now, we will bring this back in September, on September 4th at the meeting where we can discuss and do what we need to do. So I wanted this to come to us now. Fortunately, Brian brought it out yesterday, and it'll give us some time to think about it. So if you come with questions or concerns, that would be good. Okay? Thank you.
Any idea where they're planning on building this?
No clue. What you see is, that's why if they come here or somebody can come here, or we could ask them to come here and meet with us that day on the 4th, couldn't we? Okay. And then we could have all these questions to ask them. Are you concerned about something, Dennis?
Well, if it's over by Chippewa Falls, it ain't gonna do us any good.
Well, what would you do with clients or?
That's where they lost all the hospitals, was over there. I mean, I'm sure that's where they're planning on building. So what good is it gonna do this area?
Mr. Kopish?
I think Sarah's gonna talk. I mean, we use the facilities over there for some of our rehab, don't we?
Some,
We do use some,
Yeah.
yeah. Why don't you?
and plus so, I think too is that, like our resolution 2 here for mental health, too, we're asking for them to bring it north, a facility, that's what we're gonna talk about here. So, maybe they would do an off clinic, it'd be nice to ask them, I don't know what their thought is, I have never talked to them,
I'll
so.
save the question for what.
Yeah, because I think that would be a good question for them.
The only information I have is this letter, so I have the same questions. I guess we should get them here and find out if it's, because at first I looked at it, it's like, this isn't our area. What good does it do us for them to come here? But it might be if we use them for mental health and rehab and that kind of stuff.
For mental health, that might be because our facilities have closed and, going to Winnebago, Mendota, and all those places, that's quite a ways, but maybe for mental health, if they.
Well, my thought, and I believe we spoke of that yesterday, was that at least listen to them, see what it is, and if it's not going to work, well, then we just say thank you very much.
Questions for them as well.
Yeah, and have questions. So your team and you guys can have you have some time to think about that. So it'll be on the agenda on September 4th. Okay? All right, thank you. And thank you for bringing that forward, Brian. We appreciate that. Or Luke, whatever. All right. Vouchers, they have gone around, I assume. Has everyone signed them?
Haven't seen them.
Oh, Jiminy. Oh.
No, Chris Ann had. Shh. She had a long night. Oh. No, they went over there. Right there. I put them by you, Dennis. I looked at them and I said, oh yeah, your name is in here.
This one?
No, the last one.
It was on top, but you kept piling things on top of it, I'm sure.
No, I don't have them.
I didn't bring them back to my own.
But this is it.
I know I've seen her several times.
It's just a small one, right?
Oh, I didn't sign the other one. Here we go. But you have one. I piled papers on it. There we go. I'm thinking, I think I have another one here.
Dennis is signing.
Yep. Joe, I'm just putting not available that you're remote.
That's fine.
Okay.
This is entertaining too.
Good. Well, we can use it, please. Here you go, sir. Did you find the other one?
Right there.
There's only one signature missing, or is there two?
That was the one I was hiding. What's number 2 over here? I just liked it. Okay. We'll give just a couple minutes while Chrisanne is waiting for the barrage of questions. So we have to make sure we put this on the agenda. Brian, did you want to contact that person or did you want me to contact him? What do you want to do? You can do it? All right, good. And you have the letter, so you'll have the contact. No questions? Everybody looks at Bob.
I'm all questioned out from yesterday.
That's burnout. All right. Thank you, Chrisanne. Now we need a motion to approve.
So move.
Mr. Wartko,
Second.
second, Mr. Kopish. Any other comments, questions? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor? Those
Aye.
opposed? Okay, we got you, Rob. We got you, Bob. Bob. We got you, Joe, and you're not opposing it. All right, motion carries. Thank you, Chrisanne. Minutes, what's your pleasure? Oh, that comes next. Oh, yeah. All right, introduction of new employees. Managers, we need Cheyenne, Carrie, and Chana. Would you come forward?
Good morning. So in the fiscal admin unit, we have Kathy Burrs and Katie McCardle who just started. So they are going to be, they're human service focused, so they're going to be up on that first floor there.
For the Aging and Disability Unit, we have a new disability benefit specialist. So that is Lita Mason. She is new. This is a new position for Price County completely. And then we have a new ADRC specialist, which is Kelly Moore.
Mhm.
Good morning.
Thanks, Sharon.
In behavioral health unit, I am finally basically fully staffed, which is nice. So we have Melody Diesner, who started out in the position with doing mental health, some ISP, which is that intensive supervision program, and anything else we throw at her. So we're going to be transitioning her to doing some CCS, and then she'll still do some mental health and ISP. And then, then we also have Austin Acker, and she is currently part-time. She'll become full-time sometime in December, and she will be covering mental health. She's also going to be doing some of the ISP program. Sometimes there's conflicts of interest and that kind of stuff, so it's good to have two people. And probably just duties as assigned, we might have her do some CCS as well.
Well, we welcome. Yes. Thank you. Anyone have any questions for any of them? Well, we like seeing the smiling faces, so that's good. All right.
For coming over, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, right now it's fun for them. Maybe it'll become work later. You never know. All right, let's go back to minutes. What's your pleasure, folks? Okay, motion by Mr. Swenson.
I'll second.
Okay, Patty Stephen, seconds that. Any questions, concerns, corrections? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. All right, and I know we got Joe in there. Subcommittee appointments. So we're still dealing with the Council on Aging Advisory Committee, Northern Representative. And I have not heard anything. Chris, have you heard anything? No. So I'm going to bring the question back that we have discussed. So since we've exhausted, it seems like, any potential candidates for this position, are we okay if we look in the north, the central and the south? I might have, and I've kind of been holding off. I haven't even talked to anyone, but I might have one or two that we could talk to, Chris, but they come from the central. And if somebody has any idea, I mean, it's always the perfect storm if we can have all three of our areas covered, but it's getting that we don't, because we want them to have a voice for that area. So I guess my concern is, if we don't have at least another voice, we're just lacking for more ideas and more thoughts. But do we set it so that if there was to be someone who decided from the north, then that person that we would, if they would accept from the central, would we bump them to put northern back on? What do we do? Thoughts? Yeah, that's how I feel. No thoughts? So let's go to that question. How do you feel about how would that be if we did ask someone to be on and they were part of that, and then somebody did come forward and say, oh yeah, I enjoy doing that from the north? Would you be comfortable with saying, or do I talk to this person and say this is possibility? Yes, Mr. Kopish.
Do you have somebody that's willing to do it?
I haven't asked them, but I have a feeling this person might say yes, but And then there's somebody else that's in the back of my mind.
How often does this group meet?
4 times a year.
So when did they meet last? Just
They
recently?
Just met.
So
yeah.
we've got
Ogama.
3 months before we need to make an appointment for another meeting?
Right.
2 months?
Right,
Can we let this go till our next meeting?
right.
I've tried and I've thought, I had 3 people I thought would, and then they decide no for whatever reason. But I can do a little bit more legwork.
And they do get mileage, they do
Yeah.
get,
It doesn't seem to be an issue.
okay,
You know,
no,
it's just the time, I guess.
I'm,
Yeah.
right. But 4 times a year, it's a Monday, usually it's a Monday. So those are not,
Can we hang this on the hook till the next meeting?
I'm okay, well, next meeting, September
Because I think
4th,
if you
is that-
appoint somebody, they should be on.
Well, I
Shouldn't
agree.
bump 'em.
I just didn't, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
That wasn't just my total decision, so.
If we can do that, I'll see what else I can do.
Okay, and I can just talk to that person if this is possible, so you and I can be back.
Sure.
Talking about that, huh?
Do you have anybody in mind, Dennis?
I don't even know what the qualifications would be to sit on.
They have to be alive and.
I
be
said
willing
a
to spend the
pulse.
Time. Just like us.
Yeah,
Let's talk, let's.
okay.
Okay.
And they
Thank
are welcome to be online. I mean, I myself have been online for them, so they're welcome to do that too, so. And what we do, just so you guys know, is we try to meet at the different nutritional sites. Because it's just one of the things that we talk about. So we do lunch then too. So we usually have it at 10 o'clock and then 10:30, what do we do? 10, right? Chris?
This is Council on Aging.
Oh,
You're thinking Nutrition Advisory.
oh, that's right. That's, okay, wrong one. But we have done it. Yes, we have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, we did. Yep. So I'm not. So is it 10 o'clock we normally meet? Yep. 10 or 10:30 because they start serving. Well, actually, they start serving sooner. We were still in the meeting and we're getting plates put in front of us. So anyway, just so you know. All right, let's put that back on the agenda. I'm writing that down here again. Council on Aging. All right. All right, so let's go to the annual report. You have a draft. This is what you have in your person. We're not expecting you to read it all today. So take it home, look it over, and we'll bring it back to September 4th. And then what we do is we just say it's a good piece, whatever. We don't need a vote on this or a motion to move it forward. It just goes on file, correct, Jean? Yep, okay. So it's there for you to, when you're watching TV or, I don't know, doing whatever. Okay, so that's an FYI, annual meeting. And now, Michelle. Well, Michelle with,
Resolution.
resolution. Oh, that one, yes. I didn't circle it. We have a lot of stuff that's packed in here. I'm going to put this over to Sarah.
This is a resolution that Northern directors have been talking about for a while, is the concern with the inpatient facilities that have closed and that we've used. And now the inpatient where we've been going has been like to Winnebago and Mendota, and these facilities is a long distance. And what we're looking for is funding for the Northern to establish a facility up here. And also because since the travel, it also is a financial strain, just not on us, but it's also on the municipal law enforcement as well. So we're hoping that they would look at some type of facility up north. So that's what we're asking for is for you guys to sign a resolution so that we can continue to ask the state for funding.
This piggybacks what they're doing, correct?
It might be, I don't know much about with
You
these,
didn't get the other
so,
one? Oh.
yes, so
Oh,
that was.
not for this one,
but-
but I mean what they.
Oh, this is, yeah,
Right,
this is the same one.
Okay.
This is Taylor County.
Okay.
Taylor County's.
right. So Taylor County sent it to us, correct?
Right.
Right. And so when Sarah and I thought this was a good idea, we talked to Jean, and so Jean has the verbiage for the resolution where we're supporting what Medford is looking at doing, Taylor County. So that's in your packet. And all we're looking for is that this is, you're okay with this, and we'll move this forward to the county board for approval. And maybe not. I mean, maybe you don't want it to be moved forward. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, and move it forward, right? To the.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Kopish has made that motion. Second is Mr. Wartko. Any discussion at all? I mean, it's pretty laid out here. Jean always does a real nice job throwing resolutions together, so. And she took what they had on theirs and then went from that. So it doesn't change anything. It just puts us as we're supporting it. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
And it's just not Taylor County. It's all of the directors in the Northern have been discussing this, so.
Okay. All right, so all is approved. Motion carried. Now, Michelle. Yeah, it is.
So it looks like I have a lot and that Joe can't check out of the hotel because I have so much stuff on the agenda, but this is going to go fast. A lot of it is just informational and it all kind of ties together. So I can kind of stay in this order, or do you want me, should I just
Whatever.
keep,
Yep.
just talk?
Just- sure.
Okay, I'll just talk. So we'll start with the quarterly report. And most of the highlights within the quarterly report are agenda items.
It's in your packet right here.
Yep.
Yep. Sorry, Michelle.
No, that's okay. It's everybody. So most of the quarterly report ones that I want to talk about, I will talk about separately. So you can look through this, but things that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that kind of went last quarter is throughout, starting in that spring and going through the fall, we do have tick kits or vector-borne illness information out in our lobby area. So people can pick up tick kits if they want, get some information of different ticks that cause different diseases. We have that. We've gone to the Veterans Expo and had those there, and we'll have some at the fair. So that's kind of one of our pushes now through the fall. And then we also have a Beat the Heat campaign where we have water bottles and how to take care of yourself in the extreme heat. The other high points I will talk about separately. So if there's questions on the quarterly report, I can answer them. Otherwise, I'll just go into the Sharps disposal
Go ahead.
because that happened this quarter also.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So now in your bag, I didn't give electronic handouts or because a lot of this is in this bag that was put together by the Mental Health AODA Coalition and the Health and Wellness Coalition. So our two county coalitions put this together, and they have different informational resources in it. And they have given this out at like Wednesday Night Live up in Park Falls. They handed out, distributed some of these bags, and they'll be going to some other public events and trying to get this information out. As part of the information that's in there is information on the Sharps disposal. If you remember when Flambeau Home Health closed, they were the ones that were doing the county Sharps disposal program. It now is, We Public Health has registered 3 sites to do the disposal, and they were partnering with the Lakeview Pharmacy and Park Pharmacy in Park Falls. And then our public health unit has a Sharps disposal box, collection box in the offices. So the two pharmacies are, they have made donations to cover for the year for their two sites. And then the Mental Health AODA Coalition supports the box in the public health site. So it is free to anybody in the county who wants to get rid of their sharps. So they can go to those 3 areas. So there is a brochure in your bag that talks about the Price County Project Safe and where you can take your sharps and how you should transport them. So that is information in there in case you get any questions. So we were able to get that back up and going, so that's a good thing. Then the next 2 items, the food security grant and the PFAS grant, I'm going to kind of tie together. Those are just kind of for informational purposes. Public health is not, I don't have a sheet on that in the bag. These are just talking things because we are not, we're not in charge of these grants. But if you remember, like the PFAS grant, we did write a letter of support a while back. There was a high PFAS well within the county, and the state and some other organizations wanted to write for a grant to do more in-depth research on PFAS statewide. So we did do that letter of support. And so they found out that they did receive the grant. So we had a meeting with them maybe a month or so ago, just to talk to us about what that meant for us. So in case you get any questions, with this grant, it runs through 2026. And what they're going to be doing is focusing on where this positive PFAS well was. And then they are wanting to check area wells around that to see if there is PFAS, you know, how far that is spread, and then look at the geography and geology part of how this PFAS may be spreading. So they are going to actually work with the township, thinking that, because I felt like if just the state sent those homeowners a letter and said, hey, we want to come and test your well, I think they would question it and maybe just throw it away. So the people that are in charge of this grant, the ones that are actually doing the boots on the ground, are going to be working with the township and explaining it to them. So maybe coming from the township, the homeowners will understand it a little bit more of what they're wanting to do. So public health is just more aware that this is going on, but we don't have an active role in going out and testing the wells and things like that. So from October, they're going to do sampling from October of 2024 to March of 2025. And then what they're wanting to do is kind of map out what they found, put together a toolkit for public health agencies. And again, we're only like one of 6 areas. So they're doing this throughout the state, not just in Price County. And then they'll put a toolkit together of what they learned and what information public health can give out when people call about PFAS. So that grant will be starting soon. So if you hear of anything going on, that's what that's about.
Shell,
Yes.
have you said where this is?
Probably not. I kept it secret. No, it's out. I think it's Harmony. Is that out on 111? Is that Harmony? Is that Harmony? Yeah.
Yeah, Harmony.
Harmony. Yep. Yep. So that's where that will be happening.
With this grant, that means that there won't be no cost to the owners?
There won't be. They said right now, if there is, if another house has a high level, there is funding that they can help look at that to remediate that, which they were able to do with the original house that had a high PFAS. That was a DNR study that was going on. So they randomly sent out surveys to people. So we got a lot of negative results, but we did have the one positive.
Are the owners okay with this? I mean, they're,
Well, they're just starting now, working with the township to get this letter out. So I don't know what they found yet. If people are willing to, originally, when that first house tested positive, Public Health sent out a letter along with the state to the area ones, like they kind of mapped out, the DNR did, like where the water flows, and here maybe these houses could be, and let's see if they want to be tested. And we sent a letter out to them just kind of explaining and what's going on, and nobody called with any questions or did anything. I mean, and nobody asked to have their well tested either. So this will just be a little bit harder of a push, I think, to try to, so they can get some actual data.
okay.
You can't smell it, you can't see it, you can't taste it.
Right,
So they don't think there's any issue.
right.
And they can remediate.
Well, because they changed the well. So if you get to a different water source and stuff.
Okay. Because it's
Yeah.
usually the stuff's in the ground and it will keep seeping in, I would think.
Well, yeah, I don't know all of that, but there's different levels and what the rock, I mean, if they get below a certain level, the water might be clear because
Yeah.
it doesn't seep down that much, or,
I can't.
yeah. So I
So that,
I don't know all
that
that
family,
part.
that first family, they drilled a new well?
they got it, yes.
Cover chemicals,
Yep.
and there's a number.
Yep.
Okay.
So how far does the other well have to be from the one, because groundwater, you would,
I think it depends all on that terrain and
Oh,
where water is
the flow.
coming in and yeah. And, some like here, fields, they might have been sprayed with stuff. So it might have been on fields and then the rain and runoff. And yeah,
yeah,
I don't have that degree, so I don't know.
I get it.
I always laugh because the person from the DNR will call me about the water stuff. And every time he's talking, he'll say, and then we do this, right? And this, right? And I'm like, I don't know if that's right. Like, I do not know my geology like that. I don't know. I'm trusting you. So-
You're the expert here.
That's right. So that is the PFAS grant. The food security grant is a grant that Marshfield Clinic Health System is working on. The formal name of the grant is called Feeding the Whole Child, Whole Family, Whole Community Through Civic Engagement. So this focuses on food insecurity within youth organizations. And they are working with 6 communities in the area. And the one that they're focusing on in Price County is working with the YMCA in Park Falls. So the person that is in charge of this grant for our area met with us and just wanted to see what public health is doing within Price County. And so we talked about our wellness coalition. And so she is now sitting on our health and wellness coalition, so that we can kind of work together as they're doing this grant with the Y that maybe the coalition can use, because they can only work with the youth that's within the Y for this. So if we as the coalition know what it is and we work with them, we can maybe take that out and use it more throughout the whole county. But little side note, she said they used our information from our community health assessment and our data, and that's how Price County qualified to fall into that grant.
Nice.
So when you ask how the data is used, that's one of the ways that it's useful. Okay, so those are just 2 grants that are going on, not directly by public health, but affecting public health in our county. So I wanted you to be aware of those. The next agenda item was the WINS results. So every year, and so maybe Joe's the only one that's maybe not familiar with our WINS. Every year, the Tobacco Coalition does a compliance check with the businesses within Price County that sell tobacco products to see if they are checking IDs of youth and not selling to youth. So this year, they went in and they checked, well, they had 16 businesses total that they were randomly selected to do checks on. 4 of them were not inspected because one is not doing business anymore. They closed. 2 of them, they just were not open for business that day. And one of them does no longer sell tobacco products. So out of that remaining 12, 10 of them did not sell to the youth and 2 of them did sell. So with those, law enforcement follows up with the stores. So that was the results of the last compliance check. So I think they put in the newspaper, or we released it on Facebook, the businesses that did not sell, that checked the IDs correctly. And those were the Prentice Market in Delhi, Chuck's Little Station, Totem Pole Liquors, Christ in Phillips, the R Store in Phillips, the Quick Trip in Phillips, Fifield Station, Super One Foods, the Dollar General in Park Falls, and the R Store in Park Falls. So we give kudos to them for checking and not selling to the youth. And again, remember, when the youth go in, they can't lie or try to trick. So if they ask for the ID, they give them the ID. They don't try to, it's a regular, real ID. They don't fake it or anything like that. So that is done yearly. So that was our results for this year. Questions on the wins? Okay. Then the next agenda item, actually F and G are one thing. It's the Mental Health AODA and Mental Health Coalition. It's their annual report. So in your green bag, you will find both the annual report for the Mental Health AODA Coalition and the annual report for the Health and Wellness Coalition. So they're, I guess we're doing our 2023 in August, so I guess they're not that behind. Their year was usually going like July 1st through June, so they're not technically quite as behind as we are. But so this is something that we do say in our community health plan, that we will report, the coalitions will report yearly on what they're doing and how we're progressing on our goals. So that is why you'll find the annual reports in there.
And just to clarify, and correct me if I'm wrong, these annual reports are what garners you funding, correct? I mean, you do have to have these to have funding for these programs or not?
No.
No.
We don't get any funding for our community health
Not at
needs and
all.
assessment.
No.
No. The Mental Health AODA Coalition, there are some, I don't know, the old term is called menu options. I don't know what the new term is now, but there is some grants out there that if they do certain things, they can get so much money for doing that.
Okay.
So the coalition can get money for doing different presentations or giving information.
Okay.
The Sharps disposal, by presenting that and giving information on proper disposal,
Then you-
that
yeah.
gives the coalition money, which in turn pays for our box
Sure.
for the year.
So it's not funding
So-
per se, it's. you
Right.
get-
It's part of, so doing a community health assessment and a plan, which leads to these coalitions, is all something public health has to do under our 140 review and being a public health agency. So we're like, by statute or administrative rule, have to do
Okay,
this community assessment. So this is proving that we're
okay,
doing what we're doing.
okay. I guess I just used the wrong terminology for that, but
So,
it's necessary. You have to have these for.
yep.
Okay.
In the big picture, we have to, but
Yeah.
it's to keep our level, like a level 1 or 2 or 3. And so, yes.
Okay.
So, so kind of on that note, the last thing on the agenda is the public health articles, and so I copied these for you. If you get the Wisconsin County Association magazine, this was in that. So they kind of did a special on public health. So I thought maybe if you were, wanted something to do, you could read through this and get a better understanding when I talk about the public health foundational model and how that's what we have to do for our 140 review, that they look that we're covering all of those areas. As you look in the annual report, that's kind of how I set up public health this time, is to show how we're meeting each of these foundational areas and capabilities. And this first article talks about that and the essential services of public health. And so what all public health agencies should be doing. So I thought this might give a better understanding of that. And then it just kind of talks about the state of public health right now. So I just threw those in for your reading pleasure and knowledge. So in your bag, if you have any questions on that, you'll find there's some things to kind of help relieve stress, the stress ball, stuff like that. The bracelets they had gotten originally to hand out to kids to have awareness. And the glass is not meant as a beer glass. No, it's no water. No. The black bag in there, those are our doTERRA kits that if you haven't seen those, and I talk about those quite often, that's how you can dispose of your medications instead of flushing them down the toilet or down your sink, which contaminates the water. You can dispose of them in those bags. So it has directions of how many pills fit in it or how much liquid fits in it. You add water, it activates the carbon in there and deactivates the medication. So you can just throw it in your garbage and it won't be harmful to the environment.
Nice.
And then there's other resource numbers in there for crisis, suicide numbers. Our physical activity resource guide is in there. The mental health AODA resource guide is in there. So too, if you get constituents that are asking you questions, you have resources too that you can refer them to.
Okay.
Jill?
Yes,
Any questions? Yeah.
I can give
Yeah.
JoJo a bag so you can have one.
Boy, you're a mind reader. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Look at that.
That was really your question?
Yeah, that was my question.
Okay.
Or
I got you covered.
request. My request, I should say.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you.
Yep, I will do that. She put them together.
All right. Well, that was very good. Any questions for Michelle other than Joe's request? No? Nice job. Thank you. Thank you. Aging and Disability Senior Services Division, Cheyenne and Chris. We were just commenting how many of us are dressed in black. Is there something going on here? Miss Mary Mac, all dressed in black.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I will be referencing the Aging and Disability Q2 report that you guys should have received. So through the Aging and Disability Resource Center for this quarter, I kind of changed the numbers a bit from what you guys are used to. So through the Price County branch specifically, we had handled 80 referrals during that time. 14 long-term care screens were completed. So those are the screens that are used to get people functionally qualified for long-term care services. We had 2 enrollments into a family care MCO, 3 to IRIS, and then the National Family Caregiver Support Program and the Alzheimer's Family Caregiver Support Program are both respite care programs that families can get on. And so throughout the county, we've had 8 people served by both of those programs during that time as well. So that's specific to the ADRC. And then our dementia care specialist, Shay O'Rourke, during this quarter had seen 15 new people. He did start a new memory cafe in Phillips. And so for the last memory cafe that he had, there were 10 participants. He's continuing to do the Alzheimer's support groups in Park Falls and Phillips as well. And he's attempting to start a new virtual group. No participants at this point, but he's promoting it at this time to try and get some participation in that as well. And then you can see he's offered a number of trainings throughout the community as well. I mentioned earlier we have a new disability benefits specialist, so that is new for Price County. She has split time between Price and Sawyer. And so through Price County for this quarter, she was able to handle 27 cases. Moving on to Adult Protective Services. During quarter 2, we did 3 new guardianships of individuals. We had no emergency protective placements, so that's good. Protective placement reviews, we are required yearly to go review and see people that we have under a protective placement order. So during quarter 2, we were able to go see 23 individuals, ensure that they're in the best environment for them, make contact with the guardian, those kinds of things. We had 15 referrals for guardianship consults, different questions about guardianships, maybe a change within a guardianship that already exists, and those kinds of things. And then for quarter 2, we had 35 referrals regarding elder abuse, neglect, financial exploitation, and those kinds of issues. So, any questions?
Okay, thank you. What is the hi, welcome here.
So the quarterly report for the senior services, the nutrition, I put it kind of in the graph here. It shows the highest month of meal being in April, 1,795 meals served. That's total congregate and home delivered. In June, the average number of meals showed per site 38 in Park Falls, and then 10 in Kennett, with that's the lowest average. So the number of meals provided in June, we had 710 congregate meals provided, 870 total. Transportation, we have 6 volunteer drivers right now. In that time frame, they drove 8,974 miles and volunteered 300 miles.
Okay, no questions on that.
So then we had the Nutrition Advisory Council meeting at the held it at the Peace Center. The minutes were reviewed. Then it was brought up, the Phillips Nutrition site had requested, well, the first Presbyterian Church requested renaming the Phillips Senior Dining Site. I wanted to name it Gathering Grounds, Healthy Eating, Happy Living, part of the Price County Senior Dining Program.
The whole thing? I read that. They wanted that whole thing? Oh, okay.
So they discussed it, the members, and decided this would be
Yeah. Really doesn't roll off the tongue, really, you know?
So at this point, we're not gonna take.
Nice, yeah.
Due to staffing issues, so we had limited activities offered at the nutrition site right now. We reviewed congregate dining meal numbers, the financial report was reviewed for statistics. Then each site reviewed their issues or the site for lights. Each of the sites, Brentwood, London, Fish, and then milk options, wanted the cranberry, chicken, tough meat. Ogama wanted more jello, bread variations, part fall, they were very happy with the meals. And there was the next meeting is October 31st.
You can't please everyone. Okay, no questions.
Happy group of fun.
Yeah, it's because you go there, Bob. Oh,
That's why I don't go.
Thank you, Chris. All right, let's, before I forget, will these possibly be delivered and put at the nutritional sites? These are your Sharps projects? Can you? Yeah, I just think of that. I know the ones I go to, they have bulletin boards. I mean, they might even just handouts. It might be something that they could use. All right, and Carrie, she's on her way before being called down the walkway. Oh, you're not, no, not. Well, then don't start walking when you're not supposed to. Chana is done, and Kayla. And Chana and Kayla.
Okay. So behavioral health reporting, as you can see, there really isn't a pattern to behavioral health. You know, numbers.
Excuse me, is the mic on? I'm having a hard time hearing.
Sorry, Joe. No, it wasn't
No,
on.
that's all right. No problem.
right.
Thank you.
No, so as I was saying, there really isn't a pattern to behavioral health. In regards to like our crisis calls, beginning of the year was lower in volume. Then it picked up a little bit. I can also report to you July, we had 13 crisis calls. So it ebbs and flows as usual, even between like male and female, that always changes. Adults and youth, May was not a good time for youth. I don't know if they were getting anxious to be out of school or what was happening, but so I don't know if you have any questions about those numbers. And then in regards to our other programs, so the intensive supervision program. So again, that's a program for people with second offense or higher operating while intoxicated. There's been kind of consistently 2. Right now, I think there's 2 still, but there might be potential of enrollment of a few more, even potentially enrolling some people that we're going to have to get interpreters for. We haven't had that come up. So we also had to start working with Aurora to make sure they had an interpreter because part of the program is counseling. So we need to make sure they had one. They tried to tell me they needed to use ours. We told them no. And technically, as I talked with a different consultant and looked through the statutes, I'm pretty sure statutorily they're really supposed to have that ability. And I couldn't believe that they didn't have one, given that they have clinics all over like northern Wisconsin or central Wisconsin. So anyway, so there's potential that that number is going to go up. And comprehensive community services, we're doing some revamping there. I'm going to have Melody probably take over that program. We've recently received close to 10 referrals for that, so we never know if somebody's going to qualify or not, but there's potential to enroll some more people in that program, and I'm hoping to grow that even more this year. Community support program, that's for people who are a little more severely mentally ill, and Aurora contracts, we contract all that service with them. So that those numbers have stayed pretty consistent. Coordinated services team, I think currently we actually have 9 kids, so that, you know, it's been staying right around the same amount. Our goal is to have at least 10. Any questions on any of those services?
You know, you made the comment, Chana, you made the comment about May being high for children, you know, and I know when we were teaching you, it wasn't so much, yes, all of them, even teachers are anxious for summer break, but it's the kids that don't want to leave the school.
Exactly.
It's the safe place.
Yep.
And
yeah,
I mean, we would have students just crying that they didn't want summer to come. So
yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, we worry about those kids a lot.
I bet you do. We did
So
too.
we try to do, we've been working a little harder in the past few years, and that's growing. And now that I have full staff, we'll be able to do more follow-up. So when we have crisis calls, generally, as long as they lived in our county, we do follow-up calls within a couple days to a week or so, just to see how they're doing, see if there's any other services maybe we can help refer them to. And so then we stay connected as long as they want that, you know.
Right.
It's voluntary at that point if they don't get detained. Patty?
Paula, just, do you remember as a teacher, was it the kids in the rural areas, so they were afraid of maybe the isolation they were going to go through?
There was also that, but it was most kids who they just didn't want to be home. You know, maybe they were going to be in charge of their other siblings while mom and dad were at work, and they didn't want that responsibility, or it's just the safeness. They knew they would have snacks, they would have food, they would have protection, they would find clothes. If they would show up without clothes, we'd go to the bank that we have in the school and look, you know, but what's really, what saves them is summer school, because that's 3 more weeks, so they can be part of that. And so, yeah.
And also during school, a lot of those kids are connected with either the guidance counselor, or we have counselors that go into the schools. So then school ends for the summer and they don't have that connection anymore until September rolls around. So that can cause a lot of anxiety, stress, uneasiness, being unsure what's going to happen, not knowing who they can talk to. So we try to make sure, and that the counselors do too, you know, these are the connections. We make sure they have those crisis numbers. But it's a lot of unknown for them, and that's uncomfortable. Okay, and then children's waiver, that program continues to rise. I think even after this number, there were 4 more referrals, so I think our children's waiver caseload's at least 51, somewhere in there. And that's, Bobby Joe has been doing both children's waiver and birth to 3, so that's putting her like at 60 cases, which is completely unrealistic. So looking at moving birth to 3 to another worker as I'm shifting things around in our unit. Still working on how that's going to play out, but we need to alleviate her caseload at least a little bit. I did talk with her about what her ideas are in that, so we're working on a few different things.
Shauna, what exactly is children's waiver? What exactly is happening there?
So children's waiver is for kids basically of any age up to 18 or 21. Sometimes, you know, when they turn 18, they can be referred to family care. If not, then it's up to 21. So kids that have disabilities, whether it's physical disability, intellectual disability, severe emotional disabilities, sometimes those are the kids we end up with on the program until 21, because family care is more for those physical and developmental disabilities and not mental health. Okay. So yeah, and we're just seeing a lot more referrals. A lot of autism diagnoses are coming through. There's some other severe disabilities, or sometimes we feel like doctors give a diagnosis just because they want to have services. There is a functional screen that they do to make sure they qualify. So sometimes even with the diagnosis, they don't get the service because they don't meet the questions on the screen. You know, there's different age-related questions. Some of it's regarding like personal care. Some of it's regarding supervision, some of it's regarding learning disability, you know, all those things, and it's categorized out by different age cohorts too. So
yeah, okay, thank you.
I just kind of want to give a little heads up or a little information in regards to that children's waiver program right now, because it's not a waiting list that we've talked about. And looking at Bobby Joe's caseload and what she has birth to 3 and children's waiver, actually in other counties, they have just children's waiver and only 25 cases per worker. So I know that they are still getting real concerned, because this is an ongoing, it's continuing to rise throughout the whole state.
yeah.
Isn't that a situation we have in other programs too, where we're over the average? I mean, don't you deal with that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just kind of,
for sure.
So she's going to be up to 50, so she's doing.
That's a lot.
some other-
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
And
doing
what she's
the work
doing.
of 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
So, and the state's starting to say, as Sarah I think was starting to say, is that the state is actually going to start sanctioning counties that do have waiting lists and aren't getting people enrolled on time. We don't have that issue. Thank goodness. Bobby Joe works really hard. But there are certain places that they're going to start either withholding funding or asking for funding to be paid back because they haven't met the timelines. So,
Couple neighboring counties.
yeah. Anyway, all right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chana. Kayla.
Hello, everyone.
She's on page 16 in your packet, if you're not sure.
As I was listening to everybody else, I kind of realized that we focused mostly on out-of-home placement, which I assume was a big focus over the last few years with the cost, versus actually talking about referrals. But I think that's captured in the annual report for like the referrals that we receive quarterly. So our first page here shows Q2 of out-of-home placements as having 8 in county and 7 out of county for 2024, which is obviously down from the 4 years that it's showing you there. And so then on the next page though, and the next page, you can see that we have, 3 kids in subsidized guardianships, 5 in quarter kinship care, 4 in local foster care, 1 in a group home, and then the one I want to focus on is the 2 in residential care, because comparing this page to the next page, you'll see that in 2023, our out-of-home placement cost for the entire year was $220,000 about, and this year for Q2 we're already to $200,000. And when you compare the numbers, we have less placements. So just the middle graph there kind of shows you that residential care centers, we only had 2 kids in there, but that cost us $78,818. So we have 1 kid that's in a residential care center that costs about $17,000 a month for him to be there for a higher level of treatment that he needs. And then we had the other portion of that though is a placement in Northwest Passage, an assessment center. It's a 30-day assessment. It's actually 37 days now, but that placement costs us $33,000 for just one 37-day assessment. We use that as sparingly as we possibly can. And we haven't used it for a couple years now, I would say, where we used to have, I feel like when I first started, Sarah and I were talking that same 30-day assessment cost about $8,900, was it for me when I first started? And that's how much it's gone up over all of these years. Again, we use that assessment sparingly and only for the most needy of children. We've actually battled with the schools, honestly, because they want us to send everybody to Northwest Passage when they're having a hard time. And so that makes us have quite a bit of conflict because we try everything that we can. We use Chana's resources through CST programming and just kind of work together as an agency as a whole, because residential centers usually have more mental health issues. So we do everything we can to possibly keep kids out of those. I do have to say I sat in on the last assessment that was done there, the finalization, and they take probably 2 hours to go through this 30 days that they had with this youth. And it was the most excellent assessment that I've ever seen. I'm sure that, if we're taking kids for a mental health assessment, otherwise it's, a half a day, 1 day, or maybe 8 hours, but usually 4. For this most needy of child, I was just like, wow, can this lady see people outside of this 37-day assessment? But I do really think there is something to the child living there and becoming comfortable in all the different, they're seeing a therapist, they're seeing a psychologist, they're seeing a psychiatrist, they're doing med washes, and they're doing family history, and the family's brought into this as well. They make recommendations on placements, and it really is just an absolutely excellent assessment. I wish we could send more, but obviously we have to use that quite sparingly at $33,000 for 1 youth. We're doing our best. We probably have 4 more kids that right now that the school, not just the school, because we don't listen to them, we work together with them, but that they're pushing us and we're just saying, nope, we're going to try this. Nope, we're trying this. Nope, we're trying this. But there are some that there's kind of like an order of, we're doing our best, but we don't know how much longer we can do certain things with kids. So this is a person we sent for a while, but we see that cost went up. So the other youth that's in the residential placement center, that $17,000 a month, we're anticipating that treatment to be done in about December, and that he would then transition down to a lower cost. Sure.
Are these physical violence, or would they be mental health, suicide, or both?
Though these are all child abuse and neglect cases. So, I mean, without getting too specific, I guess I would say this was like severe sexual abuse. But not just that, because with these families, it's not just, it's sexual abuse, it's neglect, it's physical abuse. They've had it all. Right. What's that?
We were given a presentation of what you're working on one time. Yeah,
You did that during a closed session.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's,
okay.
yeah. So I just wanted to talk about that placement and how much that costs, how really beneficial it is. Yet it's expensive, and we try our very best to do that at the very last cost we can, which is why we haven't used it for years. But obviously our 2024 out of home placement costs will be higher than they were last year. And also want to note, because these numbers look like they're going down, which is great. But that doesn't mean that we're only working with 8 or 7 kids. Of course, there's tons more CPS investigations that we're doing and tons of services that we're providing, like we've talked about before, to keep kids in the home through that TSSF funding and different things. So we are seeing our numbers starting to rise again a little bit. 2023 was our lowest year, and 2024 is raising. So the next, does anybody have any questions about that with Child Protective Services? Okay. So then the next report is just kind of our juvenile offenders in Price County. And this is just really a detailed report that kind of shows the overall these years of the types of referrals, the types of placements, the types of crimes, the types of orders that kids were put on, and where they were, where these different things have taken place. And the only other thing I grabbed that we didn't have on here was that in 2023 we had 63 referrals, and so far this year we're at 43. So that juvenile number and intakes are increasing along with our CPS.
What did you say this year?
43. Yeah. And my theory about that is that it was coming off of COVID and we weren't getting as many referrals, and now we're kind of through that part. So we're going to start seeing that increase again.
Maybe we should go back to COVID.
That this is to date. Yes, it's to date. Yeah. So that's all I
Okay,
have.
that's all you have?
Yep.
No other questions? All right. Thanks, Kayla. It's always enlightening. Okay. Carrie, Fiscal and Administrative Division. You still there, Joe? You fall asleep?
Nope, I'm still here, riveted.
Riveted.
No, it's all really good information. No, it's good. Thank you.
Not a problem. Go ahead.
Okay, so in front of you, you have the high cost placement for the children and youth, and then also the AODA and mental health. It was actually really nice that you got to hear Kayla and Chana both speak and give their numbers and their stats. And then when you look at then the charts that we put together on the finance side, it does mirror and mimic all the things that they did say. For the children and youth, it is a bit right around where Kayla was saying, and it will continue to go up. And then also same with the AODA and mental health on that other side too. So when you're thinking about it, you can look at that and then look at our numbers too, and they do all tell a nice story together. Any questions? Did we go over the annual report?
No, we were gonna give it to them. We gave it to them, and we're gonna go over it in September 4th.
Oh, okay.
You wanted them to look at it while you were here?
No, I just had seen that it was on the agenda and I didn't remember it being talked
It
about.
was just presented, but giving them this time until September 4th, and then.
Yes, because it will take you a little while to get through it all. But it is good information too, so.
Oh, they're always really good
Yeah.
information.
And this isn't the AODA one. This is our one.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay, no questions for Carrie? Okay, thank you, Carrie. Director's report. Sarah, you get the microphone.
Oh, one thing I wanted to make you aware of is that the children and youth received a $10,000 grant from Family Come First, which will help assist families. And does that go from July to July, or is it September of next year? So that at least is a nice little grant that we were able to get. Bev retired, so in the APS unit. And so August 2nd. So we had interviews August 6th, and we offered a candidate. So hopefully she will accept. And then I have one more position in APS. I believe Children and Youth still has 2 openings. And like you heard Shauna say, that we're finally fully staffed in behavioral health. So we're slowly getting fully staffed, which is great.
We still need the one that Cheyenne's position.
Cheyenne's. Oh, yes, yes, for in Cheyenne's, yeah, the coordinator, yeah. So Cheyenne right now in her position for the program coordinator. Right now Cheyenne is doing interim and to seeing if this supervisory position will work for her. So if not, she will go back to the program coordinator and we'll be advertising for a supervisor.
Okay.
I think that's it that I have. Everybody gave such great information, so.
Board member orientation.
Yep, and then next one is, wanted to thank, yep, the personnel and board orientation.
Yep.
I want to thank everybody that came to the board orientation. I hope it was great information. I know it's, Joe and Bob and Paula came and Dennis, yep. And so, which was kind of a review for some, and I was glad that Joe was able to make it. Do you have any questions or anything you'd want to see different? Especially from, Dennis, Bob, and Paula, that you guys have anything like we missed that you're thinking at the orientation or you'd like to see different?
I know it's not easy for your supervisors / managers to take the time that they do because they do prepare. You do a great job bringing it in, telling us what you're doing in that short while. And it's always enlightening, and there's always maybe just a little twist or something. So if you ever can go to the orientation, it's a morning that we were finished by 12:30, maybe 12:45, maybe somewhere around there.
Joe, did you see anything that you felt being new to the board that we would want to change in the orientation?
Yeah, and I was gonna mention it that day and it just slipped my mind, but it'd be good to have a tour of the building on where each department is at.
Okay.
And even the years that I spent at the county, I do very little about the normal building area. So that would be beneficial, I think.
Okay, great idea.
Well, it was always a concern ever since the pandemic and us closing down everything and starting to have all the meetings here because of the technology that we have. I know your group over there, everybody feels kind of like we've forgotten them because usually these meetings were held over there. So I've always thought if there's a way we could do that, Joe, that would bring us into that building a little more often then. So I don't know how we can do that because we do need to provide the remote for people such as yourself or the people who can and want to participate. But we might have to think about that. I've been thinking about it. Okay, anything else? Any other questions for Sarah
Yes,
on that?
I do.
Yes.
When Gerald Swenson, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
About these, the money that we gave for the playgrounds and that, have any updates come in at all?
I think Michelle might have, or
Yeah,
Michelle might have.
that's a good
I mean,
question.
I thought we were gonna, kind of know about every couple of months what's going on.
Well, and I think maybe just to go on that, maybe we could bring them in after summer because they're pretty busy right now
Right.
with putting
The
those-
people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we just gave Park Falls their funds like a couple weeks ago that they got the invoice for theirs. So we've distributed all the funds. Elk Lake Park is having a ribbon cutting today. So theirs is done basically. And then Prentice has received their money because they purchased their equipment, but I haven't gotten any new update on where they were since when we talked before. They were going to do theirs in stages. So the money that we were able to give them was going to do the stage 1. And she was hoping that was going to be done by Progress Days. And so I haven't heard that they've started doing anything yet. But they all have purchased the equipment.
They have
We've
a
received.
fundraiser going on down there, a dodgeball, I think.
They had a
it is.
dodgeball tournament, I think, last weekend
Last
or
weekend,
something they had. Yeah, so they've been doing different fundraising for that. I saw the city of Phillips just used the leftover of their ARPA funds and gave 20,000 to Elk Lake. So I think pretty much they are raised almost all of theirs. I don't know the final number, but they got pretty close. And Park Falls, it's been a little bit harder to keep track because, I mean, theirs was all, they have a contractor that's doing their whole park. So the playground's just part of it. And then the city administrator took a different job, so he's not there anymore. And the parks person, that Scott that was here that did the presentation, he now works at the Y, so he's not there. So my contact is now the contractor, along with, I think the mayor is on that CC list and stuff. So it's a little bit harder for me to, I'll just send him an email every once in a while and like, oh, what's the status? And then that's when they said, yep, we just got the invoice. And so they are purchasing theirs, and they're hoping in the fall that will be put in.
So maybe then, Michelle, you could ask them, it would be nice if they would have a presentation and they could show what's going on, you know, in each of those and how, you know, how they finished and what they've done. So if you could mention that to them, we won't bother them until
Maybe
everything.
Till it's
October
done.
would be a good one. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know Elk.
Right. Put it up here so they can have visuals.
Okay. So even like I know Elk will be done, so they'll have whatever. But the other two, do you want to come back just to talk about the progress and stuff?
Oh, wouldn't you? To see how they're doing? I mean,
I think that the Prentice one now works at the county, so she's around here.
oh, there you go.
Yes, I think she's in
Oh,
extension.
okay. Okay.
Yes.
The playground equipment is
Janine, huh?
there in Park Falls now.
Yeah.
It's arrived. It's so
Okay.
it's a matter of installing it.
Yes.
So October might be a good time.
Okay.
They were supposed to be substantially done in September
Uh-huh.
with the park, but that's gonna get delayed, I think, until October because of all the rain that we got.
Oh,
Mhm.
sure.
And that's kind of what they said. Well, they said fall
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Patty?
Yes, Kristen Harper came to the last city council meeting a week ago,
Mhm.
and she updated on the timeline and the funding, and it's there. You can see it. And she
Mhm.
did say some of the funding was coming in. I'll believe it when I see it. So now they're seeing it, and the more funds are coming in from donations. So,
yeah.
Good.
yeah.
They will on their Facebook page kind of update, and every once in a while they put their little gauge of where they're at and how much they
Mhm.
have left. And I think that city, she just put one on about that 20,000 and how that made a big indent in. But I mean, I think before that, the last I'd heard, I mean, they maybe had 50-some thousand left.
They've really skyrocketed.
Yeah, and then they'd get the 20 after that, so I don't.
And
Yeah.
they're having that ceremony today because they have Phillips on tap on Saturday.
Saturday.
And they wanted to have all that down there, so. It'll be big.
Oh.
Okay.
It must have been a big splurge on this sort of deal because Tom Hawk put in that great big one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of grant monies were out there and it was a good thing. And you know how it is. One idea kind of sparks the next one. And
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, that's good. It's kind of like the music in the parks. They're everywhere now, you know,
Mhm.
so yeah. Wish I was on the road again. I'd be at all of them. All right. Anything else, Michelle?
No, so you're looking October, you
I think
said,
we'll
to
look
have
it up,
them?
the October
Okay.
meeting. Let's see, what is that? I don't have my, oh, it's my phone. It's the second Wednesday. Let's see. September, October, that would be the 9th.
3:30.
Nope, not that one, 3:30. September 4th.
September.
And I have to tell you what, oh, September 4th, and I must apologize. We were scheduled to have this meeting in the afternoon with a public comment, public participation. But I know Sarah and I, when we were setting all things up together, I think both of us kind of said, did you see it in the newspaper? And I was on vacation, so I didn't see if it had been posted or anything. So contacted Jean, and Jean was like, it was election time, folks. We'll give her a little break there. So we just kind of scrambled around. He said, move this one back to a meeting in the morning, because I know everyone much prefers the mornings. And then we looked at September 4th, because you said there wouldn't be too many people. We usually don't have it the first Wednesday.
But we don't have the quarterly reports.
Quarterly reports, right.
Yeah.
So we said, let's just go with that. So it's the 4th at 3:30 for the meet, 3? She has, okay, 3:30. And then 5 o'clock will be public participation. And Gerald won't be here. Yeah. Sorry about that. I know. 3:30
3:30.
on the 4th, right? So we can have that 5 o'clock. We'll be here about 3 minutes for that. Unless somebody really shows up. All right, folks. So our next meeting, like I said, September 4th, 3:30 p.m. and 5 o'clock public participation. And if hearing nothing else, this meeting is adjourned. Have a great day. Have a great day.
Have a good day.